right, everybody, thank you and welcome to another day of SBIR presentations and talks. And this is StartUpNV's SBIR workshop series. We have some really fantastic speakers today, and specifically really excited to get started with agency roundtables. So today, to kick us off, we have Dr. Eileen Chant from the Department of Energy. She's a DOE SBIR STTR program manager, and today she's going to talk about specific SBIR processes, including applicant assistance programs. More about Dr. Chant. She is a mechanical engineer with over 25 years of industrial experience. Her engineering experience encompasses analysis and design of diverse energy technologies and aiding startup companies with technology evaluation and grant writing. She received her PhD in mechanical engineering from Georgia Institute of Technology. Thank you for being here, Eileen.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Happy to be here and speaking to you today about DOE SBIR STTR. I am the outreach program manager for the SBIR STTR programs at DOE, and my email is shown here on the bottom of my screen if you think you're interested in applying after you learn a little bit more about our grants. Please feel free to reach out to me by email. I understand that you've already learned a bit about the federal SBIR STTR program. So with that said, I'm going to dive right into the specifics about the Department of Energy's program, because you may already know that the programs have a lot in common, but they're also very different. So you do need to get to know the agency or agencies that you are most interested in. We are the third largest of the SBIR programs. Our awards are in excess of $300 million a year. We are a granting agency. These are not contracts. You are not going to be delivering your technology to DOE at the end of the day. As a matter of fact, the Department of Energy is unlikely to be your customer. We provide grants for good early stage ideas that align with the Department of Energy's mission. We do issue focused topics. So in order to be, sorry, was there a comment? No. So in order for there to for you to be a strong applicant, you do have to be responsive to one of our published topic subtopic pairs. But with that said, while we have focused topics, they are more broad than you would expect. They do have to be in and around the energy space, but we offer topics that would probably surprise you when you see what our topics are. We have 2 phase 1 solicitations per year. If you're interested in our programs, you need to mark your calendars for early July and early November. That's when we publish our topics, and that's when you can open the topics document, take a look at the topics, and decide if there's a topic subtopic pair that you can be responsive to. And at that point in time, you will have 3 months to develop your application. Our program is unique in that we require a letter of intent. So about 6 weeks after the topics come out, you do need to submit a 500-word write-up on what it is that your full application is going to propose. It helps us understand the applications that are coming in. It helps us line up the reviewers. And also, if your letter of intent indicates you're pretty off base as far as what we're looking for, we will provide you feedback to that effect. Again, you do need to understand the marketplace. If you do receive an SBIR award, phase 1, phase 2, follow on phase 2 awards, at some point the SBIR funding will go away, and you have to know what the next steps are for your company and your technology to survive. We have a very expansive application assistance program we call it Phase 0. The current vendor for our Phase 0 program is Dawnbreaker, and it opens for participation on the day the topics are released. So it's not open now. We just actually had an application deadline, and our topics are coming out in November, and Phase 0 will open up again at that point. I will mention that we did decide to do questions can be interspersed throughout the webinar, so I will take a pause to see if there's any questions right now. Do you all, I guess no questions. I don't know if you have learned the difference between SBIR and STTR. You should know that. The SBIR program is over 40 years old. It is the bigger program. It's 3.2% of extramural R&D. And it allows you to you can have contractors, subcontractors in your SBIR grant, including a nonprofit research institution partner. And the PI must be principally employed by the small business, which means 21 hours or more. You can see this graph over here. The small business for SBIR must do 2/3 of the work, or 2/3 of the R&D. And the green is the amount that can be accomplished by a subcontractor, which could include a research institution. STTR was designed to facilitate collaboration between national labs and universities and small business. And so it is meant to foster technology transfer between small businesses and research institutions. Research institutions could have developed technology that could be commercialized, but they don't have the time to do it. So small business could take technology that exists or was developed at a university and national lab and work on the commercialization of the technology. But that doesn't need to be how it is. The technology could reside in the small business, and you need the expertise of the research institution to carry out your research and development. But it does require a research institution, the STTR program. And another difference is that the PI can be either an employee of the small business or of the research institution. So the small business must do 40%, a minimum of 40% of the R&D for STTR, and the research institution must do a minimum of 30%. We have a level of effort compliance workbook. So you can check before you submit your application, and it's actually part of the application package, you can check and make sure that you're compliant. Make sure you are compliant, because unfortunately, if you're not compliant with these level of effort requirements, your application will be declined to be reviewed. And note that if you fulfill the requirements of both programs, you can submit the same application to both programs, and they are 2 pots of money.
There is one question in the chat, Eileen.
Yeah, I have a slide on that. People are always very interested in phase 0. Let me go ahead and get to the phase 0 slide, and I'm going to talk about that, if that makes sense.
How long does phase 0 stay open?
Phase 0, when I mentioned that the application portal, that the topics come out in November, for example, our next topics are coming out next month, that is the day that phase 0 will open. And then you have until late February to submit your application. So you can join phase 0 anytime during that 3-month window. And until you get to like about 2 weeks before the deadline, then you cannot join. There's no real benefit in joining at such a late hour. But it does stay open for over 2 months after the topics document open until it fills up. It generally does not fill up. So, but you do have to be a first timer to our program to be eligible for phase 0. You can not have applied to our program before. I guess you all have learned a little bit about phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is for an award for an early stage idea that's aligned with the DOE mission. It's a proof of feasibility, proof of concept. So you do really need to couch your application in those terms that you're trying to prove. I mean, you could have a technology that's fairly well developed, but you're pivoting a little bit and you're trying to prove whether your technology can be applied to solve this problem or achieve this type of performance, that type of thing. Those grants are $200,000 or $250,000 as a maximum. And you will carry out your phase 1's feasibility study for anywhere from 6 to 12 months. That's the duration of your choice. We give about 350 to 400 phase 1 awards per year. If you do receive a phase 1 award and your feasibility study goes well, 9.5 months in, you're going to want to submit your phase 2 application, which is for a 2-year, $1.1 or $1.6 million maximum funding level. And you'll be focusing on developing your prototype, demonstrating your technology, and also, all importantly, pivoting to execution of your commercialization plan. We do offer second phase 2 awards and third phase 2 awards. So if you can establish that your technology development is going well, but you do need more R&D in order to commercialize your technology, some technology takes longer than others to finalize before it's ready for the marketplace. We do offer these follow-on awards, which means you can receive funding up to 8 or 9 years even for developing your technology. I have the phase 3 shown here. Phase 3 is non-SBIR STTR funding. It's really any kind of funding that is non-SBIR, and you have to keep your eye on where that cash flow is going to come from once the SBIR dollars go away. Okay, we have release 1, which opened on July 10th. Obviously, that's closed now. It just closed actually 2 days ago. We have these 6 offices that issue topics in July. These are, I would call, our deep science offices. You can see fusion energy, high energy physics, nuclear physics, basic energy sciences. I mean, these are, like I said, deep science offices. ASCAR is a computing research. They study, they want to advance high performance computing, artificial intelligence impact on interdisciplinary science, high performance computing, cybersecurity, and more. The Basic Energy Sciences Office studies energy and matter to provide foundations for new energy technology and funds a wide array of technologies such as cryogenic cooling, subsurface characterization, which is important for the energy transition, and advanced instrumentation. The Biological and Energy Environmental Research Office is looking to better understand complex biological, earth, and environmental systems. So they ask for a lot of sensors monitoring, atmospheric monitoring, biological characterization, data analytics, bioimaging. Fusion energy, of course, is the study of to understand, advance, and realize the enormous potential of fusion energy. High energy physics develops new accelerator detectors and computational tools to understand matter and energy. And nuclear physics mission is to understand the building blocks of matter. A lot of instrumentation and devices in release 1. Release 2 comes out next month, November 6th. Mark your calendars if you're interested in us. These are more applied topics. Energy efficiency and renewable energy, I will point out, has many sub-offices. That's solar, wind power, marine energy, fuel cells and hydrogen technology, manufacturing, vehicle technologies, and more. Nuclear energy is about the advancement of nuclear fission only, nuclear fission energy. We have a cybersecurity office, emergency response, and this is with respect to the energy system, energy grid. We also have the Office of Electricity, which has to do with improving our grid and modernizing it for the new forms of energy that are contributing to our electricity generation. We also have nuclear nonproliferation because the DOE is tasked with nuclear security, and the Environmental Management Office relates to cleanup of the nation's nuclear weapons waste sites. And then finally, we have fossil energy and carbon management, better use of fossil energy, carbon capture, and sequestration. So these are more applied topics coming out next month. This is just not going to read all these topics, but we have a threefold mission, and you can see all the very many different topics the DOE releases. And really this first column and this third column are the topics that will be released in November. This middle column are the kinds of topics that get released in July. You do want to evaluate whether you're a good fit with DOE. It must be research and development that you are proposing. You must be developing technology with the aim to commercialize it. Your early stage idea should be novel. It can't be something that's been already done. And you must have a solid work plan to prove feasibility of your idea. So you have a feasibility study. You want to make sure your work plan links well and syncs up well with proof of feasibility.
Eileen, we do have a question.
Sure.
Good morning. How far up as a priority is cybersecurity? I actually worked near San Onofre many years ago, and that plant being shut down was a little curious. How far up is cybersecurity?
So the cybersecurity office will be releasing topics. So, the offices all kind of release their own topics. They have their own budget and they release their own topics. So as far as priorities are concerned, it really is a matter of it'll be 3.45% of the cybersecurity office's extramural budget. But then they prioritize based on what they see are the most critical cybersecurity challenges of the day. Cybersecurity is very important right now to the federal government. But again, our budget is limited to the 3.2%. And you can check it out in November if you're interested in cybersecurity. They will be releasing topics. You should go look and see what they post, and you'll be able to kind of glean what it is that they're most interested in.
Thank you, Eileen. The question in chat is, will you be sharing these slides with us?
Yes, I already sent the PDF
Wonderful.
of the slides to Kara, so
Thank
for her
you
to
so much.
distribute them. I think I already mentioned you must be responsive to the problem or the need that's described in the topic and subtopic pair that you've selected. Make sure your team in the application has the right expertise to carry out the research and development. The principal investigator really should have the right expertise to carry out the research and development or to direct to the research and development. What is the potential impact of your idea if the phase 1 project is successful? And we do have a brand new requirement in fiscal year 2024, promoting inclusive and equitable research plan. It is a 1 to 3 page write-up on your small business's plan to advance diversity, equity, inclusion, how it is that you're going to sort of move the needle from what you're doing today to what you're going to do if you receive the award. And I have a link here and a QR code, and you can take a look at the information. The first 3 review criteria are the historical criteria. They are equally weighted in the technical merit of the application. The peer plan is also part of the merit review. It is also part of the weighting, but it is not it is of lesser weight than the first 3 criteria. Here's the schedule. If you go to our funding opportunities page, here's the schedule for the November 6th release that I'm talking about. Note that there's going to be a document that gets populated right here. That's when you come to the funding opportunities page on November 6th. You'll be able to click on the document here in this square and review, do keyword search in your technology area, look at the table of contents, and see if there's something in there for you. And you will be able to register for a topic webinar, and the technical topic managers will be speaking about what it is that they want to see in terms of responses, what it is that they're looking for. The funding opportunity announcement comes out on December 11th. That is when the document that tells you how to apply and the rules of the program. And then there'll be a webinar on December 15th, and we talk about how to apply. Letters of intent due just after the first of the year, and applications due on February 21st. Okay, we are here to help. We try our best the application process is unfortunately lengthy. There are a lot of requirements, but we try to soften the landing here a little bit by, we do have the Phase 0 Application Assistance Program for first-time applicants to our program. The program opens when the topics are released. You can go, once you go, you see a topic, and you say, I know what I'm going to propose, I know what I'm going to do, I know what my idea is, then you can go and you can apply to be in Phase 0. And you do need to provide them, our contractor, who's Dawn Breaker, a brief write-up on what it is you're going to propose, which topic, subtopic you're applying to, and you do have to provide your resume or your vitae to them as well. And then they will reach out to you after that, within a day or two, to have a call. And they do want to make sure that even on a surface level, that you're a reasonable fit with the program. You can always email us with questions. Please join our mailing list. You'll be invited to many webinars, and you'll also learn about other funding opportunities. We have webinars once our topics come out, once the FOA comes out, and we also have 7 Ask Us Anything webinars during the time that the application process is open. Okay, so first-timers to our program are eligible for Phase 0. Apply portal opens when the topics are released. There's months, you have months of opportunity to enroll. In theory, until the program fills up, which we don't generally fill up. So you can sign up for the Phase 0 mailing list. They help you with your letter of intent. You have to do all the writing. To be clear, you are the person with the idea. You are bringing the guts of the expertise and the technology. So they are not going to write the application for you. They will review your letter of intent. They will help you with the system registrations that are required. They will help you with your Phase 1 proposal preparation. They will do a review of your project narrative. They will review your Phase 1 commercialization plan. They will even conduct a little bit of market research for you, so that you have a little bit of an understanding of your of the marketplace. And they also offer help with filling out the budget forms and calculating your indirect rate. This is a very invaluable optional service, which pretty much everybody in Phase 0 uses, even though it's an optional add-on. And it is free to you, to make that clear. All of this stuff is free to you. You will receive a coach that will work with you, and they will give you about 20 hours of their time. I do want to remind people that commercialization is another one of the statutory goals of the SBIR STTR program. So you do need to, it's never too early to be thinking about commercialization of your technology. And the agencies are required to evaluate the commercial potential of the ideas. And commercialization has many different types of models. You could be selling your product, you could be licensing, you could be patenting your ideas, and you could be selling your technology to someone as well. And I did want to mention our TABA program, Technical and Business Program. In Phase 1, you get $6,500 up and above and beyond your research and development dollars. There's a DOE vendor, LARDA, that provides commercialization services. But if you prefer and you want to use your own third-party vendor, you may. The Phase 1 support is really to prepare you, help you write your Phase 2 commercialization plan. Phase 2 application, there's a much bigger emphasis on your commercialization plan in terms of receiving an award. So you do need to get your ducks in a row during phase one and develop a solid phase two commercialization plan to submit with your phase two application. So the primary focus of the phase one support is development of your phase two application commercialization plan. If you do move on to phase two, which 40% of phase two awards are funded, which is a pretty good success rate for 1.1 or $1.6 million. If you can get to the phase one award and then submit your phase two proposal, a meritorious proposal, you have a pretty good chance of being funded. But you get $50,000 in commercialization services during phase two, which is a nice bit of money, nice pot of money. And that in that case, you have to identify a vendor and who you're going to use and put that $50,000 in your budget. They are for third-party vendors or federal entities issuing patents, certifications, or regulatory approvals. You cannot be used to pay your staff. And the TABA funds are outside of the award amount. The TABA amount is added to your budget over and above the maximum award. A phase one applicant seeking TABA from an external provider would maybe, if the maximum award limit is $200,000, the maximum award limit is topic-based. It's either $200,000 or $250,000. If you are selecting an external provider, the actual award amount would be $206,500. So, like I said, phase one TABA focuses on developing your phase two commercialization plan. But for phase two, you can use the money for these items as well in phase one. They're not excluded. It's just that there's not a big pot of money, $6,500. But these are all the different areas which the TABA funds can be utilized during phase two in particular. Okay, so I want to be clear in phase one, award recipients have two options for receiving TABA. If you are going to use our DOE selected TABA vendor, which is LARDA right now, you do not need to do anything in your application. You do not mention TABA, you don't include any vendors or budget. However, if you want to utilize your own TABA provider, you need to treat them like a subcontractor in your application. So you have to put them in the budget, and you have to get the letter of support from the TABA provider. So just be aware, those are the two options. If you get to phase two, only option two is available. You must select your own TABA provider and put the $50,000 in the budget in order to receive TABA services. We do have this listing here at the bottom of commercialization service providers. We're not endorsing any of those people, but you could go look if you wanted to look and see what options were out there other than LARDA. You could take a look at this page.
Are you saying that LARDA doesn't require anything special in phase one, but any vendor must be budgeted for phase two?
Yes, that's exactly right. If you want to use LARDA, if you're happy with LARDA in phase one and you want to use them for phase two, you've got to put them in your budget. And we emphasize that a lot in our webinars and in the FOA, but yeah, that's right.
Okay, and there's a follow-on question. What is the benefit of a third-party TABA provider? Additional money beyond the $6,500, or is that the max?
No, the LARDA, the DOE program through LARDA, you get the same amount of support. You get $6,500 worth of support. But if you wanted to customize, some companies have received a lot of phase one awards and maybe have a clearer idea of what they want for commercialization support services. Maybe they do some of their own commercialization support, bigger companies that have been, won a number of awards. If you're brand new and you don't know anything about TABA, you might be better off just utilizing our our vendor. It's up to you. It's totally up to you for phase one. You can select your own TABA provider. Usually that's just for the case of people who really know what they want. If you haven't ever been through a TABA program before, then potentially it might be easier. The road of less resistance is to use our TABA vendor, they are very experienced in providing TABA services. So we do offer a lot of assistance to you all. We're not just a granting agency. We have a number of applicant resources that I've spoke about, phase 0, many webinars. You can email us. We have tutorials. We have a brand new online application guide. When you get to become an awardee, we have what we call our phase shift program. That is Energy I-Core, which is a customer discovery process. You can enroll in that. The TABA funds become available. We have a new partnering resources page, which allows you to search if you want to round out your team, if you want to meet experts at national labs or universities. You can have access to some of that information on our partnering resources page. And if you go to if you proceed to phase 2, there are a number of workshops. And if you need high performance computing time, we do offer that to awardees as well. And then if you're a phase 2 awardee, we have an internship program called the Diversity Supplement. So we have a lot of support programs. I just want to emphasize that. There's other DOE programs. There's the Lab Embedded Entrepreneurship Program for entrepreneurs. There's American Made Challenges, which are prize competitions, very short applications, and you receive prizes that are smaller, like $50,000 or something like that. And there's demonstration facilities in which you can demonstrate your technology, and there's more. There's a lot there, and anybody could reach out to me for more information about alternate sources of funding for your idea. And don't forget to look at other agencies as well. One of the things I do want to mention is that we are another one of the statutory directives of the SBIR program is to foster and encourage participation in our program by women and socially and economically disadvantaged persons. In addition to that, we are very also interested in, Congress is interested in the ideal world, the SBIR, the federal SBIR funds would be spread evenly in a proportional fashion around the country. So we do have defined what we call underrepresented states. Nevada is an underrepresented state, and Nevada has not received in the last 5 years, I think only about two phase 1 awards. So we're hoping to see more movement in that area for underrepresented states. Over the years, you can see we have seen an improvement in performance in underrepresented states. That's about half of the states they are receiving right now. You can see about 23% of the awards. Again, it is something that we study from a proportional perspective rather than an absolute perspective. So our program mission includes, in addition to underrepresented states, we do want to foster diversity, and we track how we're doing in this area. We do our best to educate, support, and we try to find innovative ways to pull in underrepresented entrepreneurs. We're always looking for opportunities to speak to underrepresented founders, researchers, and entrepreneurs. And you can see we're doing better. Let's just take the green line, which is Women-Owned Small Business Award, DOE awards to women-owned small businesses. And I have the dotted green line, which is the regression line through, you can see that we bounce around a lot. We do better some years and worse other years, et cetera. But we still are really just at about 10% for women-owned awards to women-owned businesses. And we, even though we're improving, we have a ways to go. As far as socially and economically disadvantaged owned businesses, that's the purple line. Again, we are, you know, at somewhere between 10 and 15% at this point in time. The goal is to reach 15% for women and socially and economically disadvantaged persons by 2024. We are not on track to make that for women-owned small businesses. So we have work to do.
Eileen,
Yes.
thank you. A couple of questions. Does commercialization encompass selling to government agencies or only in the private sector?
Yes, you can sell to government agencies. That is commercialization, and some of the agencies are interested in your technology. And some of the DOE national labs may end up being your customer at the end of the day as well. But it's unlikely that it's going to be enough. You do kind of want to always look at dual uses, public and private sector for your technology. But yes, commercialization, you might be selling to the Department of Defense. They are a contracting agency. They may fund your technology because they are interested in purchasing it at the end of the day. So yes, government, the answer to that question is yes.
Okay, a couple of other sort of detailed questions.
Okay.
Is SED, socially and economically disadvantaged, the same thing as Section 8A?
No, we define diversity, even though we have these plots here, we define diversity fairly broadly. I mean, we're interested in seeing diverse teams of researchers. The PI, you know, the principal investigators, for example, are not on this. It is a self-declaration. When you fill out your department, when you fill out your application, there's an SBIR STTR information form, and it is a self-declared checkbox whether you're women-owned or SED-owned. And it is not part of the technical review process. It doesn't affect the technical review of the application because this is a merit-based R&D program. But we do track to see how well we're doing, and we look for innovative ways to improve the diversity of the SBIR program. So it is not the same as an 8A. You don't have to get any certification or anything like that. You just self-declare the ownership demographics of the company.
Okay, and do you include ageism in the diversity aspect?
Yeah, I mean, we define diversity very broadly. We have the diversity supplement for phase 2 awardees, for example. There's a diversity justification. And we also have our promoting inclusive and equitable research peer plan. And in those, there are diversity justifications, and we define it very broadly. And ageism, a justification means you need to sort of show why this particular person or group is underrepresented in STEM research and development. And those statistics are all out there.
Okay, thank you. And here's a more technical question.
Okay.
If you've made progress on your idea or project in the time frame between submitting your application and getting selected, is there any way to send updates about your plan? Is that okay if plans change?
It's okay if plans change. You shouldn't send updates after you submit your application. If you're notified that you receive an award, that would be the time to negotiate. You might want to negotiate, probably don't want to do this, down the size of your award if some of the research and development has already been accomplished. But you might have to tweak what it is that you're going to accomplish because you've already accomplished some of the scope of the award. But the time to do that would be if you're notified for an award, and then you would first of all, reach out to us and ask us that question, and we would maybe put you in touch with the program manager to begin that discussion. But the best thing is to be very open and honest about what is going on. We're very forgiving, but we don't want to we don't want to pay you for something that has already been done, if that makes sense. Just be completely open about where you are in your research if you're notified for an award.
And lastly, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. We are an underrepresented state. Would you say that that is because we've been slow in sending in applications, like we're not sending in enough applications? Or is it that we are just not applying correctly?
It's the number of applications are low as much as the number of awards, and I don't know the answer to that, but I have a feeling that maybe there while there maybe are a lot of startups in Nevada, maybe they're not focused on energy. Like for example, you if you look at our on our DEI page, North Carolina is an underrepresented state. They have a lot of research and development in North Carolina, but they don't have a lot of energy research. They're more bio and life sciences. So I don't know. I'm not an expert on what the industries are in Nevada, but I suspect that part of it is that there's not as many energy startups there as there are in other states.
Thank you.
All right, so just a few concluding slides. There are things you can do to get ready before, November. You can review some of these very good SBIR tutorials about the program. Are you aware? I'm sure that Startup Nevada can tell you this too. There are local assistants. There are people that could help. There are organizations that may offer you small grants to write your application or can help you get registered with sam.gov. That's one of the most important things to do if you're not registered in sam.gov. Go to the SBIR.gov awards page and search for the awards and find out which agencies have funded kinds of technology that you are developing. Pick a couple of agencies to focus on. You don't want to get spread yourself too thin, but you don't want all your eggs in one bucket either. So DOE might be good for you, but maybe NSF is good for you. NSF is you'll probably be hearing from them. They are topic agnostic. So if there's not a good topic for you at DOE, you might want to consider NSF. You can look at our closed topic documents to see what we have funded by going to our funding opportunities page and going to fiscal year 23, last year's topic. And we have online application guide, which also kind of goes through like an overview of the programs and gives you some good background information.
Eileen, we do have another question.
I do have one. Just one question here, and getting a little bit tactical here, but for the actual letter of intent, do you have not just a preferred template, but also some examples of some absolutely rock solid letters of intent that you received, so that we can give you all exactly what we can give you all what you're looking for in order to enable you making forward progress decisions? We
do have a sample letter of intent on our website. Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing. We do provide feedback only if your letter of intent is considered non-responsive, but that does not preclude you from submitting an application. You get feedback and they'll explain why it was non-responsive. So you do have the opportunity to tweak your approach if you think that you can to become responsive. So there's a sample, there's a fair amount of guidance on preparing the letter of intent. And even if you do submit a non-responsive, you still can submit your phase 1 application, but please make sure that you feel like you can address what the issues were cited in the review of the LOI. And I do just want to say you can always reach out to us. We're here to help. Asking for help is very important. And yeah, I'm here to take any other additional questions in the remaining time we have left.
Eileen, there's a comment that asks you to advocate for more money going to infrastructure and cyber attacks on the power grid.
Yeah, and I don't really have control over that. What happens with the SBIR program is that Congress allocates extramural R&D to the agencies, and those flow to particular offices. And Congress really decides how much money is going to flow to the Office of Electricity, the Cybersecurity Office, and stuff like that. And then we get 3.2 plus 0.45% for STTR. So, and I agree sometimes there's not always a balance. Cybersecurity is extremely important right now. It's not always reflective of the funding levels in the different offices, but we don't really have control over that.
Thank you. Here's George.
Yeah, hi, Eileen. My name is George. I have recently received a patent for a propeller propulsion invention. And I wonder if there is a topic here in the energy department to fit this invention where I can make a proposal for a grant.
Again, I don't know what's going to be released next month in November, but what I would like you to do on November 6th is to open the topics document and see if there's something in there for you. But if you want, why don't you reach out to me? My email is there. Send me an email and I can set up, I do one-on-ones, I do 15-minute chats if you want to do a 15-minute chat, and I can also send you an email. I have an outreach email and it talks about all the important details of our program, and it also directs you to potential other sources of funding for your technology.
Yeah, I have hopefully a quick question. I am a frustrated prior submitter, so it's in full transparent mode. So my subject was cybersecurity, and I've received very positive response from two reviewers. One of them said my idea was worth tens of millions of dollars. There was another. The third reviewer was obviously the one that wasn't so bullish on my idea, but his objection was it was cybersecurity for high performance computing. And so that his feedback was actionable, but my question is, he felt that, or he or she felt that I didn't demonstrate sufficient HPC knowledge. So I'm struggling with, when you have such limited words, what do you spend your time in? Because the idea very clearly is not even possible without HPC. So how do I balance that without writing a book report on what I learned in school about HPC? So, because that's just, to me, that's just a huge waste of words when it's the innovation. So clearly my opinion isn't accurate. So could you give me some guidance on how to balance those things?
So, I understand your frustration, and it sounds like you basically had a relatively strong application. And I don't know your background, and I don't know what your team looks like on paper, but is it possible for you to add someone on your team that has a really strong HPC background? And also, would that person be able to review your project narrative and make sure, to kind of strengthen that part of the application? I guess that's what, not having seen your application, not knowing what your team looked like or what your resume looked like. That's what kind of comes to top of mind. And maybe also if you reach out to the program managers as well and ask for advice about that, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to say I've reached out a couple of times to program managers and haven't received a response. So in terms of HPC, I'm a former Unix system administrator, so that is not foreign to me, but clearly they're looking for something else, or that one reviewer was. So I have been looking for an HPC resource. And I have not been successful.
SCAR just had topics, so I don't know if there's going to be anything in this release for you now, but if you do reach out to a program manager and you have questions during the time that the application is open and you don't hear back from them, you should email our office, and we will I mean, we cannot guarantee that we will get a response, but we do ping them. We do bug them a little bit and be like, can you please answer this person's question?
Thank you.
And good luck to you. I hope you don't give up on us yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm woman-owned. I'm certified. I'm certified HubZone. I'm certified economically disadvantaged women-owned business. So, you know, at this point, it's just with the DOE, it seems that the HPC thing is the barrier.
Eileen, can you give us a general rundown about how the reviewers are chosen and what that procedure looks like? They're not all sitting in a room and gabbing about this stuff, are they?
No, we don't have panels. When the applications come in, and the letters of intent allow us to know what applications are coming in. We line up reviewers prior to the applications being received. They are external reviewers. They are not DOE employees. So they're from the national labs, because those people are contractors. They're not DOE employees. They're from university, and they're from research institutions, or they are from private sector. And 3 technical reviewers review the phase 1 application, and they provide their, they provide their reviews, comments, specific feedback, and then they send the applications back to the program managers. The program managers, based on the feedback and the reviews from the technical reviewers, they rank the applications from the most meritorious downward. And our success rate is about 20%, which is higher than most agencies. But we have about 40% of our applications are considered meritorious. So it's really the most highly ranked applications that receive funding. The other thing I wanted to add to the process is that we have in our FOA something called program policy factors. And so for the most highly ranked applications, the program managers, if they have like a technology priority, a portfolio balance, or for improving the diversity of the awardee pool, they can make individual decisions based on that, but only on the most fundable applications. We call them program policy factors.
Okay, great, Eileen. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Eileen's contact information is here on the slide if you guys would like to get in touch with her, and I highly recommend reaching out if you have questions. I know we have a lot of energy companies who are interested in getting started, and please connect with Eileen and ask her your specific questions.